there, I'm Judy O'Hara, and welcome to my new YouTube channel, Painting Along with Judy. Anyways, we're going to be painting mainly in acrylic, which is my favorite, sometimes watercolor, sometimes color pencils, pastels, and even oils. Anyway, we'll be painting a variety of subjects. We'll start out slow and simple, but which will be preparing you for other projects. We're going to paint still lifes, landscapes, seascapes, animals, and just a huge variety of subjects. So let's have some fun together, and welcome to Stone Cottage Studio. And come on in and let's paint together and have some fun.
Hello and welcome to Paint Along with Judy. I'm glad you could join me today. And today we are going to be painting hydrangeas. So I have an 8x10 sheet of watercolor paper, and that's what we're going to do it on. And this is a painting I had done some time ago, and I don't know exactly what colors I used, but we'll try to match it the best we can, okay? And this is a freehand painting. We're not drawing anything on, so I hope you're good with that. And if you're not, and you'd like a pattern for it, I can also do that and link it down below and put it on my Facebook page and on my blog and put those links down. Anyways, I've got a 3/4 inch flat Royal Languinelle, and I'm going to start off with the blue hydrangea. So right now I'm using today I'm using these Deco Art Americana paints mostly, just for something new and something different to do today. Anyway, so let me put my glasses on so I can read what color that blue is for you. And you don't have to use the same colors that I use, just something similar. So I'm going to start with this one up here. This is a Providence Sky. So I'm going to just go in there and start tapping. I mixed a little tiny bit of white with it. And I think I'm going to carry this up close to the top, and see how I'm keeping those edges loose up there. And I'll get a little bit more white. And make it pretty good sized. And we'll come back and refine this a little bit. But you're just using the edge of your brush like this and tapping, okay? And I have 2 containers of water, one for washing my brush and one for just dipping in, okay? All right, I'm going to go to the pink one. And I don't know about this color. I've got Mulberry in the Deco Art, and in Folk Art Light Fuchsia. I'm going to start with the lighter pink because I'm going to come in and add all those darks a little bit later. So I'm going back in, tapping. Now don't fill your whole page up. You want to be able to leave some places for your leaves. And hydrangea leaves are pretty good sized. So I'm picking up this pink. I'm getting a little bit darker out on the edges. Don't necessarily have to, because I'm gonna come in here several times. Now this pink one comes down about down to here. And I've got a lot of hydrangea bushes. I've got pink, blue, and the limelight, and I love my hydrangeas. I'm propagating some more, and hopefully next year I'll have even more. We'll see. Okay, I think that one might be big enough. Wash my brush, and I'm going to come back with the white one. Now the white one is not going to be just white. I'm going to add a little blue. I might add a little bit of green, which is my light green here, which is Hauser Green Light, okay? And I will list those down below. We're still learning This is video number 4, and hopefully we will be learning how to link things and whatnot to help you out a little bit more. Okay, I want to be able to see my palette. I want you to be able to see my palette. So I'll move some of those paints back. But anyways, yeah, I'm kind of doing this one more like a limelight, more lime than anything else, I think. Because sometimes those hydrangeas pick up different colors. Okay, I don't want that too white right now. And I'm going to come back in and shadow it too. The shadowing that you see here in this painting was done with a color called Cocoa. And I absolutely love it, but I couldn't find it. So I try to get something as close to it as I can. Okay, there's our hydrangeas for right now. And keep them all touching each other. And then we'll come back. So I don't think I'm going to use that 3/4 inch brush right now. Let's see what else we can use. I like to use the largest brush that I can. Here's a slanted brush, and you don't have to use the same brushes that I use. You can use whatever you're comfortable with. But I'm going to start with just enough water on my brush so that it moves in my mid-tone green, which is the Hauser Green Medium in the Deco Art. Okay, so I've got 2 leaves right here. Just going to come out, squiggle, and get a nice leaf shape in here. And I've got another leaf right there. So I'll put another leaf shape, and that kind of comes all the way over here. Let me come down with it like this. How about that? And I'll fill it in. We're going to come back and shade and highlight and do all kinds of things with these leaves, but I just really want to, right now, base coat them in. Just do the underpainting with your mid-tone green, okay? Where else? There's another one right up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, we cannot have 4. I don't know what I was thinking. It's always a good idea to have odd numbers instead of even. And you don't want those leaves to go out of the corners. You can have them go off the tops or go off the sides. How about I do the extra leaf right here, and I'll just take it right off my page right here. Okay, that's the medium Hauser Green. Don't have to use that color. Any medium green that you have that you like, you can use. And then I'm going to do another one right up here. Okay, that's got a nice point. Let's point it up that way a little bit. Got to wet my brush. Only enough water so that your brush will move. And Thanksgiving week is coming up. Next Thursday is Thanksgiving, and so I hope that you are getting ready for that and excited about that, and that you'll be able to spend some time with your family. That's what I plan to do, and I'm excited about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leaves, 3 flowers. Okay, good enough. I'm going to go back now. Yeah, hey, you know what? Let's just finish these leaves and get it over with, right? I've got this color here is called black green. Now, if you don't have black green, you can mix up a little tiny bit of black in with your green and make it darker. And you can even add a little bit of blue to that. And I'm just going to put that right at the base of the leaf and walk it out just a little bit. And this is my underneath leaf. This leaf right here is going to be on top. So I'm just going to kind of follow that edge around a little bit. And pull it out just a little bit. I can pick up some of my medium and tap those in together so that you have a smooth transition. I'll take a little bit up here. I don't want them too dark at the top because they're getting more sunlight than the leaves down below, okay? So you can not be quite as generous up there. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more of the medium green and transition. Just lay my brush kind of on its side like that and just kind of slide those around together. Okay, rinse out my brush just a little bit. Remember I said I wanted to put this one on top. So what I'm going to do is pick up my Hauser Green Light. Touch, pull, touch, pull, touch, pull, touch, press down, pull, pull and lift, lift and pull. And you see how automatically that put that leaf on top. I'll come back over here and do the same. And I'll come back on here and go over this a little bit more. I'm not finished with it. And I want to lighten this one just a little bit, but not up there. I want to keep it light where it's underneath that other leaf. And you can add yellows to this if you like. I think I might even add a little tiny bit. I might pick up some more of that medium and blend those colors together. Wipe my brush, lay it on its side, soften, soften, soften. Okay, back to this lighter one. Yeah, hey, let's make it even a little bit lighter. I'll add a little bit of white to that green. I'm going to move this over so that you can see the palette a little bit better. Get that into the shot a little bit better. Okay, so I've got a lighter, and this is angle brush. You can use any flat, round, whatever. I like my round brushes because I can, especially if they've got a good point, I can push them down and get a thick line and pull them up like this and get a skinny line. Okay, I might add a little bit of yellow in that when I get it out. In the meantime, just soften a little bit and leave it alone. Okay, down here I'm going to add a little bit of medium green, a little tiny bit of the lighter green. I don't want too much. These leaves here are down in shadow. Wipe my brush, blend that out a little bit. Pick up some medium green. And normally I'd be turning this around and working at an angle that's more comfortable, but I'll just scoot up here and work this way. So I'm touching, pulling with that very light green. Touching, pulling. Touch it, pull, lift as I'm coming in. Wipe my brush. And I'm pretty much done with the leaves. I'll come back to them right at the end and make them prettier. Okay, wash my brush out, lay it down, and then I'm going to go back to the 3/4 inch flat Royal Languinelle. Let's go back. Let's start with this pink one. I'll get some pink on my brush, but I also am going to get a little bit of the, what did I say? That was mulberry. Mulberry. It wasn't the color of choice, but it's, I think it might put in some of these really, I'm going to tap some of that paint out. I don't want much of it, but those those really dark colors around the edge. And don't tap and make little circles or whatever. Get kind of irregular with it. See, I'm turning my brush. I've got it laying on its side. I kind of want some darks right in here. You have to have the darks in order to show the lights. So I'm tapping in those pretty darks. Okay, wash my brush. Now I'm going to get into the blue. Now this color blue here is cobalt. We did use that light Provence blue. Now I'm going to get into a little bit of cobalt. I'm going to soften it on my paper towel so I don't have so much. I don't want lots of paint in my brush. Be careful. And I'm using a very light touch, tapping this color in. Turning my brush a little bit. I can come down onto the green. Tap, tap, tap. Twisting and turning. Oh goodness, I got into my green, didn't I? Oh well. I think that'll be okay. Yeah, I think it'll be just fine. Get a little bit more, just a tiny bit. This brush is getting so old I can see bristles hanging out. Okay. All right, rinse out my brush a little bit. I will pick up some of that medium green this time, just a little bit, and tap into here. Even a little bit of the blues. Tap in. I'm going to come back with and make, you know, quite white over this, but you got to have the darks in there to show the light. Okay, so there we go with that. And I think I'm going to leave those alone for just a few minutes, and we will go back to those leaves for just a minute. Okay, I'm going to get out, I got to get out yellow anyways in just a few minutes, so I'm going to put out a little bit of true ochre. It's not a yellow, but that's what I'm going to use to do these little dots in the center. We're not ready for that yet. Oh goodness, I got oil. I got oil. And I'm not editing this stuff out. I'm leaving it in to show you that I do make mistakes. I mess up, and sometimes how to correct those mistakes. But this, I have to shake the dickens out of it, because it probably hasn't been used in a long time. Well, maybe never. Some of these were new, and goodness, I don't like taking those plastic wraps off. I do have a handy dandy little tool here that I was using. Don't know what happened to it, but I'll show you sometime. That's really, really neat to remove the plastic. Oh, here it is. A friend of mine that's a wood carver carved it out, put a little screw in there, and you just go like this. It lifts the lid, you know, and breaks that seal. All right, I'm gonna go back to that brush, and I'm gonna add a little bit of that gold. I'm gonna back some of this stuff up so that you can see the palette better. Okay, I'm gonna take that light green with a little bit of that gold, maybe a little bit of white, and just make a really nice light color green. In fact, I could probably use a little bit more of that green because it was kind of oily too. Some of these paints have sat for a very long time. Okay. That's a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to go back in here, touch, pull, just to put a little bit of interest in some of these leaves. Maybe a little bit up here. Very, very light touch. I'm going to come back to that in just a second. Acrylic dries really fast. Oil is nice because you've got a long time to work it. Acrylic, not so much. But I'm a fast painter, so I can do that. But you don't have to keep up with me when you're painting along. You can stop and pause the video and come back to it. Go back to that. So I've got it really, really light, and I'm going to pick up some more of that mid-tone and just kind of, whoops, I went out, way out. We'll just make a little bit of a fatter leaf, right? And I need that green to come all the way into those flowers, I noticed there was some white there. And I don't want it just to be straight and round, because they're not like a round snowball. They are lacy. Those flowers are lacy and pretty. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone. Wash my brush out. Swish, swish, swish. Set it down and go back to the 3/4 inch. Okay, let's go up. Oh, you know what? I think I've got enough of the tapping with the 3/4 inch. Let's go to another brush. I've got a filbert here, cat's tongue filbert, and I don't know what the number this is, but this is a close-up. Hopefully you can see the filbert, or you can use a flat or round, it doesn't matter. That's just what I happen to have. Okay, on this pink, I'm gonna, whoops, I don't want that green in there. I want to get lighter, so I've mixed up a little bit of white with that pink, and I want to show, I need to get a little whiter. I want to show a few petals, a few flowers in that. You do not have to paint every single flower in this, just a few little petals here and there. I'm going to get more white, I think. Still have a little tiny bit of pink in my brush, but I'd like 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just a few here and there. I want to keep that pretty dark pinks that we see. It's kind of impressionistic, an impression of hydrangeas. It's not perfect. I've got one in watercolor that I painted online. I was scared to death to paint it. It is so realistic, and in watercolor no less, and it was fun. It did turn out pretty decent. But I held on to it for months before I decided to go ahead and paint it. Okay, I've got a few, maybe 1 or 2 more. I don't want too many of them. And maybe down here you just see a couple. You don't necessarily see the whole 4. Maybe the other 2 are behind or whatever. You can do some with 3. Okay, and I think that would pretty much do it. Maybe I'll get a little bit of a lighter pink and go over in these dark areas and do a little bit lighter pink, because they'll show up better. Okay, I think that's enough on the pink one. And what I'm going to do after that is take my liner brush. I love liner brushes. The bristles here are that long and skinny. Whenever you use a liner brush, you get your paint as thin as ink. And I always like to touch it on my paper towel like this. Touch it, making sure that it's not going to run. Now I put these little stamen, I guess, the little centers into your flowers. You don't want to put them necessarily in every single one of them, because some of them like that you probably wouldn't see. Yeah, there's a little empty spot. Okay. Let's go on to the blue. So I'm washing out my filbert, and I'm going to get some lighter blue, very light blue. Can you see that? I've moved my palette off. Very, very light blue. And I'm going to come up here, especially in the darker parts. Oh, that's still got showing some pink in that brush. Let me wash it a little bit better. Okay. A very, very a very light blue. And I'm going to come up here and put some petals in. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it actually works if I just lay the brush down on its side like this. 1, let me see, I hope you can see this. 2, 3, and 4. And it's okay if some parts of it look a little more blue and some parts look a little more white. Pick up a little bit more white. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'll make that one a little bit fatter. 1, 2, and this one's just going to kind of run, I need a little more white, run right over into the green. 3 and 4. 1 and 2 there. I'm just seeing the 2. That's okay. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'll put a couple there. Every now and then, and some are going every now and then, just, you know, one's partially covered up by another. Just putting some white in here. Okay, I think that's probably enough right now for that. So wash my brush out a little bit and go down to this one. Okay. And with this one, I think I'm going to just use pure white. I've got a, because it's a white one. Okay. But even though we see a lot of that pretty color underneath, just getting the white. Oh, see, I still got a little bit of blue in here, but that's all right. Don't want to have too much paint on my brush. And this color here, that beautiful cocoa, if you can find it, I've got it in my studio here someplace, I just don't know where. You'll love it, because we're going to shadow this a little bit with the cocoa or facsimile. And you see that one has a little bit of blue showing in it, and I like that. And I'm only doing 2 petals sometimes, maybe 3 there. That's okay. And remember, don't do every single petal. Show some of that beautiful dark color from behind. That's why we put it there. And some of these will be very light, kind of like ghost petals. You don't want them all to be exactly the same. That's what we don't want. Oh, that got some, how'd I get all that blue? A lot of blue, I don't even know. I guess I must have touched over there. Okay, but that's all right. Just a few more. 2, 3, and 4. And that watercolor I was telling you about, we did the petals where it showed every little vein and every little crease and everything, and oh my goodness, it was kind of fun. And I may do that some other time when we get into this a little bit more, so you can see how that's done. Okay, I think that's good for now. Let me get those little stamen in the center. I've got an ochre. You can use any color of yellow that you like. And some of these, especially if they're 2 petals, you're not going to see the center of, okay? So don't worry about putting them in every single one. And I need to do them in the blue. And then I think I'm going to take my trusty little blow dryer to this so that we can show the shading in here and the difference that it makes with the hydrangea. Okay, while I'm waiting for that to dry just a little bit though, I'm going to hopefully get some of that black green, touch my paper towel, make sure it's not running, and come down with a vein. Don't want to go all the way to the end, and I want to keep my brush lifted really high. I'm going to go this way this time. It's not what I normally do, but and you can put, you know, cross veins like this if you like. That's up to you. Just keep that brush way up on the tip when you're doing that. Okay, let me blow dry this really quickly, and we'll put that tint on there. I'm going to give it just another minute to dry, and while it's drying, I'm going to take and put a few little squigglies on here. Not that we necessarily need to, but you might like them. And if you like them, put them on. If you don't like them, you don't have to. Liner brush, thin as ink. Touch it to your paper towel. Let that water run off. Okay. And I need a skinnier liner brush. This one's kind of fat. I don't know what happened here. Just kind of a drag. But anyways, that's how you do those. And that one didn't turn out the best. But we can always do that. And then on those veins, if you put a little bit of a light color right next to it, I'll take my green and add a little tiny bit of white to it, the lightest color green, you can kind of really bring that vein out. And I got this, like I say, it's not a good angle for me to work. I'm going to turn it where it is, and that'll make a difference. That would have made a difference, I think, in my squigglies also, if I turned my board. But it's a pretty good sized board. Okay, let's try that tint and see what happens. I don't know. I can't swear to what's going to happen because I did not have my beautiful cocoa color. I've got an espresso brown that dried up on me, and some raw sienna. And I'm going to take a teeny tiny touch of that mulberry color. But look for that cocoa. I think you will really like it better than what this is. And what I'm going to do is make this a glaze. See what I mean? Like this, where it's like almost see-through. I'm going to put it, oh goodness, just a little tiny bit across the top of this flower. Just a little tiny bit, and I'm just going to pull it down. You got to make sure it's dry though, okay? And you use a very, very light glaze and a very, very light touch when you're pulling that down. I think it just kind of adds a little bit of interest in that. Now, your blue up here, we could actually take a little tiny glaze of that cobalt also. You see how thin I've got that? Just really, really thin. And add a little bit of it down in here. Just darken that. I'm wetting my brush, bringing that out. And I could do a little tiny bit of that with the mulberry color. That's such a strong color. There. I've got it down to almost nothing. And I I don't know, I think maybe I'll put a little bit of that down here at the bottom. Just a little bit. Almost none. And because I got a lot down here, I think I'll just kind of go back in with my light pink and put a couple more petals of light pink in. Because I've got that dark to be able to show that light. Anyway, you can do smaller ones, larger ones, however you want to, but basically that's all I'm going to do on these hydrangeas. So I hope that you've enjoyed it. Let me know, and I'm going to show you a couple things real quick before we end. This is that bird I was talking about that we're going to do soon. So watch for him. He's coming up soon. And remember, we did the sunflower the other day, and because we did the sunflower, we will be doing a sunflower in a ball jar. Also, if you like Ross, we'll be doing Ross. He was one of my little Bantam roosters. So those are some of the upcoming projects. I hope that you've had fun today, and thank you for painting with me. Please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, and comment below, and watch for more videos. Thank you very much for joining me, and have a good day and a wonderful Thanksgiving.